Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel. Welcome back to another live stream and another tactical preview, because for once Manchester United are playing twice in quick succession. We got a lovely win on Saturday against Tottenham Hotspur. Now we've got another weirdly kind of tricky game against West Ham. Tricky because it's away from home, which I think always makes things a little bit more difficult. Tricky because West Ham are absolutely fighting for their lives right now, but also because they've found a little bit of form in recent weeks. Now, I do apologise to you guys in the chat for ruining your morning routine. We are, of course, streaming about an hour earlier than what we normally do. I apologise for that. Because United play tonight, I still want to do a video, but uploading at 6 and then United playing at 8 seems to clash just a little bit. So yeah, that's why we're streaming a little bit earlier today, so I can get you guys a video nice and early this afternoon. We'll aim for around 2 PM. For right now, for the stream, the conversation is quite similar to the one that we usually have. United head away from home against West Ham, and we need to try and find a way to win. And when I say find a way to win, I mean find a starting 11 that can win, find personnel, find a formation, find a system that can win, but also talk about how we want to see United play, how you want United to approach the game. Are there going to be tweaks to the starting 11? Is there a different style of football that's required? Well, that's what we need to try and figure out. Now, our form isn't amazing against West Ham. Our form is not amazing, especially away from home. It's been poor for several years now. But just generally speaking, United have struggled in this fixture for a few years. It's been a bit of a bogey game for us. I'm not too sure why, because West Ham haven't been a great team over the past 4 or 5 years. So it's almost a bit confusing that we've had this record, but it is something that needs to change, and it needs to change tonight. United need to win tonight. If we do, that will be 5 wins in a row. More importantly than that, it will be another 3 points that helps us climb a little bit higher up the table. Because our aim, as it has been all season long, and we have reiterated that point all year, the aim has got to be top 5. We have to be in the Champions League next season. So those midweek fixtures, like tonight, aren't so rare, right? United should be a team that are playing every 3 or 4 days next season. To do that, though, we need to win tonight, to be honest. I think it's a big game. We've got some interesting games coming up after this one. So I think this is one where we need to go away from home and win. We've seen this season, we've dropped far too many points to the bottom 8 in the table. Hopefully tonight can be a sign of that changing, really. Although Spurs are in the bottom 8 and we beat them. But it's just quite funny that Spurs are in the bottom 8. And as always, really, in the Premier League, it's an opportunity, because every week, top teams around us are playing other top teams or other difficult teams. There is always a chance that someone is going to drop points around us. I mean, Brentford and Arsenal, that's a difficult clash for both teams. Sunderland-Liverpool is not an easy game, particularly with Liverpool's sort of crisis at the moment. City-Fulham is a really intriguing one. So there's a few games in there, even Villa-Brighton, that could maybe go United's way. So if you can get 3 points tonight, especially as we play before several of the teams around us, then that's a great way to put pressure on those teams. Of course, this early in the season, the league table isn't the most important thing. You know, it doesn't matter until May, really. But you've just got to keep getting those points on the board. If you look at the form there, you can see we are, alongside Chelsea, the form team in the league. We do have the best form out of every team over the past 6. But if you look down in 18th, you will also notice that West Ham have 3 wins in their last 4. So they're no joke right now either, despite the fact they are in a relegation zone. So it's very important today that we do not take this game at all lightly. After this game, we've got a break, so this has to be full throttle, trying to get 3 points and a good performance in this match. To do that, though, and to discuss that, I need your help in the chat. I need you guys to help me with maybe not a goalkeeper, but pretty much the rest of the team, how we should be lining up, and then, of course, how we should be setting up. In goal, it's going to be Lomans. I'll put him in, and we'll go from there. But I want to hear what you guys think about the back 4 for this game. And whilst you are getting your thoughts in the chat, I just want to read out a couple of things. Because first of all, we have David in the chat with a gifted membership. Thank you very much, my friend. And we also have a super chat as well. United better go all in full throttle mode, non-negotiable. I completely agree. First of all, thank you very much for the super chat, but I completely agree. I think we've seen far too many times this season that these are the games that we've dropped points in. You know, Everton at home, Burnley we dropped points to, Leeds we dropped points to. West Ham, I think we dropped points to last time. I can't quite remember. But yeah, these are the games you've got to win, because it's all well and good. It's all a lot of fun beating City, beating Arsenal, beating Fulham, all teams in the top 7, beating Spurs, who we've struggled against over the past few seasons. But ultimately, they only matter if you go and win these games as well. If we want to be in the Champions League, we need to be able to beat the teams in 18th. Now, I don't think it'll be straightforward. As we look through that West Ham team, there's quite clearly some very good players there. You know, they're not as bad as what the league table makes them look. They're a good squad. But United should have too much. And if we're serious about wanting to be in a top 5, then this is a game that we should be attacking. And this might be the game where we see us facing a proper low block at times. We sort of saw it against Spurs. Once they went down to 10 men, they naturally sat deeper. And to be fair, I think United approached it okay, the way that we approached the low block the other day. I liked the ideas. I thought the tempo was missing sometimes. But the other day was almost a nice little, like an audition or almost a warm-up heading towards this game. So, yeah, I think you're spot on. I think it's another very big one. I do think we need to alter the lineup a bit. Mazraoui can come in for sure, and Sesko should have a run-in. Yeah, so you'll have noticed in the thumbnail I made a couple of changes. Now, that's not necessarily the team I would go for, but I just wanted to sort of just immediately put it in mind that this might be a game where you change your personnel a little bit. So let's go through our back 4. David is going for Dalot. Oh, this reads right to left. Dalot, Yoro, Licher, and Mazraoui. Give Baz a much needed rest. So let's just quickly take a look at how that would look. Dalot on the right, you've got Mazraoui on the left, you've got Lenny Yoro, and you've got Lisandro Martinez. Now, does anyone have an update on Lenny Yoro? Because I saw something about him not being with the travelling squad. Was that just another one of these errors where, you know, a journalist hasn't seen him? Or is there a doubt there? Does anybody know? I'm not too sure. In terms of the idea of resting people, it is something we've got to consider. We know that Maguire was sort of rushed back quite quickly for the Manchester City game. He's, of course, started 4 in 4 since, which has sort of been okay. It's been manageable whilst we've been playing once a week. Suddenly to then play Saturday and then play Tuesday night, it's a very different challenge for Michael Carrick. First of all, in terms of how you prepare for the game, it's very different. He perhaps wouldn't have had the time to do the research or some of the game-specific tactical instructions, but also the recovery would have been very different. The routine the day after the game would have been different, but also leading up to this one. How's the recovery? I'm not sure. You know, Luke Shaw has started every Premier League game so far this season, but he's been able to do that because we haven't been playing in other competitions. Is this a game where Luke Shaw needs to come out for a little break? Let me know what you think. Yeah, I'm really not sure on Lenny Yoro, David. I haven't seen anything that he's injured, but I just saw a list of the travelling squad last night, I think it was, and Yoro weren't there. There's a chance it was a load of rubbish. I don't know. I can't even remember what source it was, but it's just something to keep in mind. But yeah, I think those are the conversations, again, to have in defence, right? Heaven will feel that he deserves an opportunity, but I think you're going to struggle to get in over Lisandro Martinez. But I think Heaven will want to play, Yoro will want to play, but I also think Maguire will be demanding that Carrick plays him as well. And again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you just go with the same back 4? I would love to hear what you guys think. Steve, good morning to you, my friend. Lovely to see you. I hope you're well. Look at a 15-month membership. Steve, I did not realise it had been that long. Thank you very much for the support, as always, from you, my friend. And it's lovely to have you in the stream, mate. I hope you are well. Let's bet Carrick wouldn't change anything. It's possible, right? We've seen so far the only changes have been forced ones, right? For the City and Arsenal game, let me get this right. City and Arsenal game, it was the same starting 11. Then Dorgu got injured against Arsenal, so Cunha came in for Fulham. That was the only change. And then again, it was unchanged into the next one. So far, the only change Carrick has made is Cunha in for Dorgu, and that was somewhat forced by injury. So there is a chance, based on Carrick's track record over the past month or so, that he does stick with the same team again. I think fitness is something to consider, but also the tactical approach. If we are going to be playing a team that are going to sit a little bit deeper, which I think you would assume West Ham will naturally do because of how United come into the game, we've got to think about, first of all, players that can break down a block, people that can get on the ball, your Liches of the world, people that can take the ball, find a way through West Ham, but also players that can defend bigger spaces. I think Somerville and Bowen in particular are massive threats on the transition for West Ham, and that is something that Carrick mentioned. Now, I'm not so sure about these two, the two new West Ham forwards. I don't really know anything about them, to be honest. Maybe someone could help me with that a little bit. But there's definitely transition threat there. There's a lot of power in the West Ham midfield as well. So maybe we are looking at needing a slightly different profile of midfielder. Let me know what you think. In the meantime, we've got Steve Brooks in the chat with 5 gifted memberships. Steve, thank you very, very much, my friend. That's very kind of you. Good morning, all. Nearly missed the show this morning. Well, I'm glad you didn't. Welcome to the stream, my friend. How are you feeling about the game? What are we thinking? Carrick seems to favour a consistent starting 11. We've got a longer break between games after this one. Probably going to remain unchanged, I feel. Yeah, so that's where it's weird, isn't it? Because I think normally we would assume the midweek game, for the first time in a long time, is going to force us to rotate differently. If we played Saturday, which we did, and then we played today, which we do, and then we played again this Saturday, you'd probably need even more rotation because 3 games in the spell of 8 days would have been quite difficult for the starting 11 to manage. The fact that we don't play, though, for 12 days or 10 days, something ridiculous after this one, it might mean you can sort of push your luck a little bit, keep a very similar starting 11, knowing they've got plenty of time to recover. The counterpoint I would make is, Shaw is a walking injury waiting to happen. Is he really a player where you can take that risk and push him? Can you push him that extra game? I don't know. I don't know if you can. And Maguire is always a concern as well in that regard, because we know Dalot still isn't back and doesn't look like he's going to be coming back in the next couple of weeks. He still looks out. Losing Maguire would be a problem. So it's very tricky. It's very tricky to figure out the rotation here. But also there is that point of you've got to keep the squad happy. If United want to finish in the top 4 this season, we're going to need everyone. Because at some point, I hate to say it, we will drop points. At some point we will draw, we will lose. Tactically something won't work at some point. Someone will pick up a knock. So we're going to need more than just 11 or 12 players. So we do have to make sure that we are keeping everyone sharp. You know, Lenny Yoro right now may not be starting, and the same for Aiden Heaven, but there is a chance, every chance, that we need them at some point this season. The worst case scenario is that we don't see them at all, Maguire gets injured, and then one of them comes in having not played football for 2 months. That would be a nightmare for United. The same in midfield or in the forward positions as well. We've got to make sure we're not just managing an 11, but that we're managing, 20 plus players here. That's something that Carrick's got to get right. You've also got to keep them happy, keep them motivated. Squad morale is very important. Again, easier to do whilst you're winning, absolutely, but it is something that we've got to consider. Having said all of that, what would your back four be? What would your back four be? If it was me, Dalot's in my team again. I think he was very good at the weekend. I've got a video coming out on the fullbacks, hopefully early afternoon, mid-afternoon, that sort of time. I think Dalot was very good again at the weekend. I think his assist sort of goes against what I say in the video that's coming. But yeah, I think Dalot's been very good in the first 2 phases of the pitch. And I think defensively he's been very switched on. I think if we're talking about defending transitions, up against Somerville, the pace of Somerville, you need someone like Dalot. I think Fernandez, Diouf, Somerville are all very athletic players, very quick, very strong, very powerful. I'd want someone like Dalot in my team. So Dalot is in there for me. Could move him either side. I think Lissandro Martinez, let's highlight the ones that are in. These guys are in for me. Those guys are in my team. I'm not so sure at left back and right centre back. Now, I don't mind that one of Shaw / Maguire arrested. So maybe you look after one of them. But which way around do you do that? Now, I'm just looking at this West Ham team, by the way, and thinking set pieces, which it feels like the conversation every week, but they're just such a big part of football. Souček is massive. Disasi's pretty darn big. These are things we've got to consider. And I just wonder, right, United's form so far has been very good, but most of it has come at Old Trafford. So we've had the backing of the crowd and all those things. We haven't gone behind yet, I don't think. Away from home in this sort of game, it is a different type of fixture. It's a slightly different type of game. I wonder if just purely the experience of Harry Maguire is something that you keep. You know, I would love to see a Euro or a Heaven to try and deal with transitions. I would love to see that. But purely the experience of Maguire going away from home in a big game on a Tuesday night to a place where we haven't been very good over the last few years, there is really that argument for just keeping with what you've got. And Steve said it there. Dalot, Maguire, Lisandro Martinez, sure. There's no injuries or fatigue when you're winning. I completely agree, right? You suddenly don't get tired when you win every week. It's a very different mindset suddenly. When you're losing every week, you feel like you got to rest and protect people. When you're winning, the momentum just carries you. So I think I would just about go for Maguire for the experience on what feels like a big night for us. Feels like a big night for us. So I think I would go experience of Harry Maguire. We went behind at the Emirates. Guys, it's all a blur. It's all been such a blur the last few weeks. Did we go behind at the Emirates? Yeah, you're right. We did. You're right. We did. Yeah. But you know what I'm saying. We haven't been behind very much. It's all been very positive. We haven't had many setbacks under Carrick so far. It will happen at some point. I think for one more night, I would go Harry Maguire. I think that leadership is something that I would want in my team. So the question is Shaw or Mazraoui? That's really the question. Should we go to a poll? Because we haven't had one yet today. Should we get that left back poll going? And it's Shaw. Look at the left-handed typing. Bosh. Did I do it? Shaw, Mazraoui, left back. Yeah, there you go. Poll in the chat. Have your say on who should be playing at left back. Jiff will cause us problems with the crosses, so having experience is a good thing for our backline. That's an excellent point. His deliveries into the box are fantastic. The way that he whips a ball, ooh, nice. Very good crosser. Very good crosser. And again, set pieces. There's some big threats that I think will be in the box for West Ham tonight. So having your Maguire, and like I said, away from home, your Maguires, your leadership of Licha and Casemiro and Bruno, I think it's important. Now, you know, it almost seems weird to say because some of us will think, you know, we've just beat City, we've just beat Arsenal, we've beat Fulham, we've beat Spurs. We're fourth, we're playing 18th in the league, we're flying right now. Surely we don't have to worry about experience on a night like this. But I think we do. I think you need those people that are going to keep you grounded, that are going to keep you level-headed, that are going to sort of make sure you're concentrating and set the standard from the back. So I think I would go for those guys. The question is Shaw or Mazraoui, and we will just see what the poll says on that one. Once you have had your vote, if you also want to give your reasoning in the chat, then I'd love to hear it. Why change the back four when we don't have to? And we've kept clean sheets for the first time in ages. Stick, don't twist. Yeah, 2 clean sheets in the last 4. We've matched what we were able to do the rest of the season combined, which is horrifying. I don't think United look perfect defensively at the moment, I will say. I think the record looks much improved. We're not conceding as much. The XG that we've faced from open play doesn't look too bad. On the eye test, I do have some concerns. When I watch United, there are moments where I think we looks not vulnerable at the back, but a little bit easy to play against through certain parts of the pitch. But what I will say is I think that stops when you get to the back four. I haven't really seen any of the teams test our defence yet. I don't think that back four have reliably been asked a lot of questions. I think we've done a very good job at the back. So yeah, I'm enjoying the back four's performance. And yeah, there is the argument. If it ain't broke, you know, why try and fix it? Why try and fix it? So it might just be another night of Luke Shaw. The only thing that would make me consider is fitness. He's looking after Shaw, but also making we've got a sharp Mazraoui as well, right? Because we're going to need him at some point. I thought his cameo was good from the bench the other day. Can Shaw play again? If he can, play him again. You know, because I think he does a lot for this team. He does a lot for this team. His final third work's annoying me a little bit, but yeah. Largely think that's just a pressing issue. Yeah, I agree. I think the press isn't quite working, which makes the first half of the pitch a little bit too easy for the opposition in the last 2, especially. I don't think it was as bad against Spurs. I think against Fulham, they really found it quite easy to go through the first half of the pitch. Spurs, it weren't as bad, but it still felt a little bit easy. Even with 10 men, there were moments where they could sort of sequence through, which is always going to happen. We're playing against quality in the league. But I do think the press could be fine-tuned a little bit. I don't know if we'll even have the time to do it over the course of the second half of the season, to be honest. It might just be worth mid-blocking at some point. I'm not sure. There's definitely some profile issues from a defensive point of view, but we don't really have profile fixes anyway. So what can you do? Yeah, I mean, the argument is like, can you get a quicker Lenny Yoro to cope better with spaces than what Maguire can, for example? But I think we lose a lot. Maguire's been so strong for us recently. I think you've got to keep him in for now. I think his leadership at the back, but also, right, I think at times we're almost harsh on Maguire because we point to the leadership. We go, Maguire's experienced, he's a leader, but he's also just a very good footballer as well. I think aerially he's been impossible to play against recently. Everything in the box has been hitting him in the chest or in the head. He's been defending everything. I think on the ball he's been quite good for us as well. So Maguire isn't just leadership and experience. He's also a very good footballer who's been showing that recently, which has been a lot of fun to see. And as we look at the poll, 65% want that unchanged back four. So, I just want one of them, please and thank you. I mean, it looks pretty simple so far, right? Once again, we have an unchanged back four and goalkeeper for the 5th game in a row. Now, I don't know the statistics behind this, but I would love it if someone could find the last time United started the same 4 defenders and a goalkeeper in a back four. We did have a spell under Amram at the start of the season where we had Yoro, Dalot, Shaw. But I wonder a back four. So prior to Amram, the last time it happened. I wonder the last time it happened. If ever. It doesn't feel like it happens. Anyway, midfield. I mean, this one solves itself, right? This conversation requires 3 words, I think. Let's see if we can do it in 3 words. Casemiro, Cobby, Bruno. Their performances are almost making streams a little bit boring because every week you just go, those 3 are killing it. They are outplaying everybody that they've faced, and we've faced some different types of teams now. Go for them again. Go for them again. As simple as that, right? Simple as that. Is it true Somerville and Bowen might miss tonight due to knocks? I mean, I guess it is possible. I did see the report. I know what you're talking about. I believe it was false, though. I believe a very good source had previously reported that all of the expected, or all of the big players at West Ham all trained. I know the manager did a press conference yesterday and sort of suggested there is someone out, but he didn't say who. But what I've heard, what I've read, is that the big West Ham players trained and were fine. So I don't think they're going to be missing anyone key, but I'm not exactly like a reliable West Ham news outlet. So take it with a pinch of salt. Right, take it with a pinch of salt. Joe, thank you very much for the £2 super chat. I love Mazraoui, but I want him on the right if he plays. Yeah, we've got that thing with him and Dalot, haven't we? Where they're both just so versatile that they can play both sides, but they both definitely prefer the right. I wouldn't be surprised if at some point we see them together this season, one on each side. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. The problem for Mazraoui at the moment is we're not conceding goals. Dalot's playing well, so pushing him out of the team is quite difficult, right? It's quite difficult to do. So I also love Mazraoui. I think he's a great footballer. But the point that I kept raising last week in this stream was, if we're talking a little bit about speed and athleticism, if we're simplifying a little bit, when you've got Maguire there, I just like Dalot's extra athleticism. I think he's one of the best athletes in the Premier League, to be honest. So I like having that extra bit that he gives you if we're playing Maguire, especially when the left side of the defence isn't exactly the most athletic anyway. So I think it's difficult to take Dalot out of the team at the moment. I think he's playing very, very well. But yes, thank you very much for the super chat, and I agree. I also love Mazraoui. We've got 3 good midfielders. Let's play the 3 good midfielders. Yeah, and football sometimes can be very simple. We're not conceding. Defence is doing well. Play the defence that's doing well. Midfield is good. Play the midfield that's good. Simple. I think the conversation in the attack's a little bit more of an intriguing one, because I think in the attack, you naturally see more substitutes in forward areas. You often see wingers or a striker come onto the pitch, which means they get that 20-minute cameo where they might just show you something that you like, or they might move someone. So the other day we saw Mbumo play on the left, and we also saw him up front. We saw Cunha up front and on the left. We saw Bruno even on the left. Amad always in the conversation. Šeško, I wish he'd scored that goal the other day. That would have been just the perfect day. Šeško comes on, a few minutes to go, we're 2-0 up. Scores a third, 3-0, happy days. It's great for our young striker to get another goal at Old Trafford to cap off a beautiful win. Really annoyed, just a lack of awareness in the box, right? He didn't scan properly, He didn't have a look round. He didn't know how much time he had. And you want to tear your hair out, but I'm sure the next one will fly into the back of the net and he'll be absolutely fine. Mount, the update is that he's still out, still injured. We did a stream, the other week, talking about which players we should keep and which ones we should sell. And I put Mason Mount in a little category called, you got to prove yourself, mate. And that was all about fitness for me. And since then, he has not proven himself in terms of fitness. It's a problem there for Mount, as there always is, unfortunately. Zirkzee. Zirkzee's never quite got going at his football club, has he? Ten Hag brought him in, and there were glimpses. There was a game against Southampton, I think it was, where Zirkzee was absolutely fantastic. Under Amorim, again, glimpses, sort of cameos, moments, but not consistently. Largely because the play style, I didn't think really suited what he wanted to do. Carrick ball, as we call it, does suit Zirkzee. That idea of getting players close together and asking them to combine in a 4 versus 4, a 5 versus 5, a 3 versus 3. A lot of focus on playing through the middle, quick flicks and combinations. It all sort of screams Zirkzee's name. He's got to be given a chance at some point, just because I want to see it. I want to see Zirkzee in this system. Now, I'm not saying long-term he's going to be United's striker. I wouldn't be surprised if he's moved on in the summer. But it just feel with what we're doing at the moment under Carrick, it would feel like a missed opportunity to not see Zirkzee linking up with some of these guys. The question is, what do you do this week? Because ultimately, you're leaving out 2 good footballers, no matter what you do. You're leaving out someone that in an ideal world you wouldn't be leaving out. How do you guys look at this? For me, I think out of the front 3, I think Amad's the first name on the team sheet. Which might sound weird because Mbumo scored more goals and cost a lot of money in the summer. Added Šeško and Cunha, and I think they're all doing quite well. But Amad's the first name? Well, Bruno, obviously. But if we're going literally the front 3, these guys, the wingers and the forward, Amad's the first name on the team sheet for me. Now, it might be a bit of a challenging game for him tonight because Juve physically is going to be a challenge. Although I still think Amad 1 versus 1 has got something for him. And that's why Amad, for me, is the name that goes in there. I think his 1 versus 1 ability is unique. I don't think we've got another player who offers it. And I'm a simple man, right? I think when I watch a football team and I'm trying to create a football team or anything like that, there's a few things I want in my team. I want players that can pass the ball. I want players always that will run off the ball. And I want people that can dribble. They're sort of the things I like. And I think if you take Amad out, we lose so much of that dribbling. We lose so much of it. So for that reason alone, I think Amad always has to be in my team. And that's without talking about the defensive work that he does. He's fantastic, isn't he? The work rate, the desire, the mentality, I think, the discipline, the determination, I think are all incredible things. And I said sort of a few weeks back, Amad has, for me, sort of set the standard now of what every player has to be when they come to this club. Especially as forwards. You've got to, bring the dribbling. You've got to score goals. You've got to be able to cross, whatever, all of that stuff. But you've got to match the defensive work that Amad does, because if not, you're going to struggle to kick him out of the team, because he's just been fantastic recently, to be honest. And yeah, for me, out of the forwards, he's the first name on the team sheet. The left side one's more interesting. Cunha, I think that's his best space, right? Coming in off the left-hand side. We also saw Mbumo playing there the other day. We saw glimpses of Mbumo doing it at AFCON. We saw Mbumo do it earlier in the season against Spurs in the first game. I don't mind him from this side. I think it allows him to be something a little bit different. He's not a winger like Amad is in a dribbling sense, but he is more aggressive, shall we say, out wide than what Luke Shaw is when he's there. Or even out wide than what Cunha is. And Mbumo will go outside on his left and he will put that ball into the box. And his delivery is pretty good. But do I fancy him up against Wan-Bissaka? And I wonder if other teams almost prepare for Wan-Bissaka the way that we do. Is it just because we had him for so long and we sort of saw him lock down so many great wingers that we overthink it a little bit? Do you reckon other teams pick their winger based on... Do you reckon other fans certainly have the conversation on who's best against Wan-Bissaka? Because we always do. Because I think the logic that we always have is don't go 1-versus-1 with him because you're probably not going to win. All right, and I think Val's has sort of alluded to it there. You know, even Ahmad, I love him as a dribbler. I wouldn't back him 1-versus-1 against Wan-Bissaka. I wouldn't. What I would back is multiple players around him in a zone. That's when I think you can cause him some problems. If you can drag him out of a position, I think you can cause him some problems. And I think also, if you're crossing towards that back post, we've seen Wan-Bissaka mistakes, haven't we? We've seen his back post defending isn't the most impressive thing I've ever seen. So the question is, you know, on that back post front, who's going to be the best at attacking that back post? You might say it's Mbeumo. But who's going to be best at dragging him out of position? You might say it's Cunha. Or is there a world where we play both? We play... Let's just move these guys away. We play one up front, one on left, and they just switch throughout the game. So Cunha plays up front and Mbeumo left. Then after 10 minutes, Mbeumo goes up there and we swap. How would you guys be looking at this? Cunha for Wan-Bissaka, I want someone who's going to drag him around the pitch. His positional sense is the worst part of his game. Yeah, completely agree. Ahmad is the most consistent. I just wish Ahmad would add that pure output into his game. Goals, assists, key passes, things like that. I wish he would just get that. You know, the amount of times he skips past the fullback, comes inside onto the left. And I just want that finish to be a little bit sharper, a little bit snappier. It's annoying. I think the second he adds that, I think we can put Ahmad into some very fun conversations across the world of football. So, Ahmad, add that going into next season, and we're going to be having big conversations about him. I think you are overhyping Zirkzee. We have seen very little, only glimpses. He's not fast enough. Only position he could operate in would be a 10, and we are not dropping Bruno. I mean, I don't think in my comment earlier I actually really hyped Zirkzee at all, to be honest. I'm talking more of a profile thing. If we're playing a combination football, that's a Zirkzee football. That's a style of football that suits him. Of course, we can have arguments over his level, his sharpness, his speed, but Zirkzee thrives in a team that's going to get players around him, give him players to combine with. We know he's best when he's flicking the ball around the corner. He had one on the touchline the other day. It's fantastic. So, you know, your rating of Zirkzee can vary. Of course it can. That's very opinion-based. But actual profile of striker or forward player, I think Zirkzee does tick a lot of the boxes of what Carrick would like, and it would be interesting to see him at some point. As I've said, I don't see him as a guaranteed starter, not even close. But just at some point this season, I'd like to see him given an opportunity, because I just think the dynamic could be quite a lot of fun, providing you get the right players around him. Wan-Bissaka is a beast in a 1-versus-1, but Cunha drives through the middle rather than isolated. Yeah, and maybe that's the path forward. Maybe that's the route that we have to take to attack Wan-Bissaka. Can Cunha pick the ball up, drive in, draw Wan-Bissaka with him? Is that when we sort of play that release to Shaw? Possibly. Something to think about. Hey AJ, why isn't Carrick playing Mazraoui? Don't you think he suits it better than Dalot? I mean, I couldn't tell you, to be honest. I think it's a fairly... I think there's a simple explanation that I'm sort of following the logic of. Maybe I'm wrong with this. Dalot was here for the first couple of games immediately ready, right? Mazraoui wasn't because of AFCON, which is completely understandable, but Dalot came straight into the team and immediately performed very well. And the team was defending well and attacking well, so it's difficult then to change it. We've won 4 games in a row. You almost feel like you don't need to change it. So Mazraoui for Dalot, is it an unnecessary change? Is that unnecessary pressure on Mazraoui? So it may not even be that one's a better fit than the other, purely a momentum thing. One is playing very well at the moment. It's harsh to take him out. I also think Dalot's athleticism, his power, his drive and things like that are all things that Carrick is going to value at the moment. Mazraoui is no slouch. He's a good athlete himself, but not on a Dalot level. And that's not a big criticism, because I don't think many players athletically can compete with Dalot in the league. I think he's a very good all-round player, to be honest. I think he's really underappreciated at United. If he played for West Ham, we'd be bidding 60 million this summer to try and get him into the club. So yeah, Dalot's a good player. He profiles well and is playing well, so it's difficult to take him out. If we were playing more matches, then absolutely Mazraoui would have had a run at some point. Oh, I nearly missed a super chat. I do apologise, my friend. Thank you very much. Carrick playing the same team 100%. Don't change anything that ain't broke. Chopping and changing the team every game led to Amorim's downfall. First of all, thank you very much for the super chat. And yes, that is definitely one of the benefits of last season's horrific season, is that we have less games this year. So we can stick with the team. And when it's working, we can build on what's working. I'm a big opinion, or I don't even know what was I trying to say there? Let me just rewind a second. I am of the opinion the relationships in football are huge, right? It's very easy for us to sit here and look at these as circles on a board, right? Little circle, little circle, little circle. But they are humans, and humans build connections. They build understandings. We see players in football sometimes that almost feel telepathic with each other. And that doesn't happen overnight, right? That happens by players playing regularly with each other, understanding each other's game, understanding the subtle cues of what each other are going to do. So yeah, I do agree that where you can keep it consistent, do it. Keep it consistent. I think probably especially for forwards, because I think it's in this area you need that little bit of magic to happen. And I think those magical moments only happen with players that understand each other. Unless, of course, it's a bit of solo brilliance where you just, twat it from 60 yards out. But I think largely, you're trying to break down a low block. You're trying to get around people that are really tight to each other here. You've got to have that connection with each other to find that way through. So, yeah, I completely get the argument of not changing it if we can help it. But the counterpoint is we need to keep multiple people fresh. There's people we need to look after. But also, different tactical requirements as well, right? Different games require different things. This might be a game where, for example, you think West Ham are going to be deeper, perhaps. So maybe like someone like Cunha who drops off the line, maybe that isn't something that we want. Maybe this is a game actually where we want someone to go and play up against them. Someone who's going to occupy them to create more space for these guys. So I do think also there are different tactical circumstances that sort of crop up across the season as well. And this might be one of them. So basically, for what it's worth, Ahmad on the right, Bruno in the 10, that feels like a given. It's here where it could be any of these four. Zirkzee probably the least likely, to be honest. I sort of see it as maybe that pecking order for tonight, those four. And then obviously we know Cunha and Mbeumo can go on the other side. So should we do a poll on the left wing? A bit of a left side heavy poll situation today, but should we do a poll on the left wing between Mbeumo and Cunha? I don't really think there's anyone else that comes into the conversation. I know we always like to throw like a Shea Lacey in there or whatever, but he's had a bit of a calf problem again. And again, it's just not a situation where you throw him into the team. So we'll figure out who's left wing. And then whoever isn't left wing will certainly go into the striker conversation. And we'll go from there. And we use the term left wing a little bit loosely, but, what else can we do? My first time tuning into a live. Welcome to the stream, my friend. I hope you do enjoy it. I'm sure everyone in the chat will be nice and welcoming. Make sure you say hi. But yeah, welcome. I hope you enjoy it. Bit of a different streaming time today. Normally we stream in 20 minutes time. Because United playing tonight, it sort of caught me off guard a little bit and changed my routine a little bit. So yeah, different stream time today. But hopefully, like yourself, that means we've got some different people in it, which is good fun. Good fun. As a fan, I have needed to see this consistency. So many unnecessary, unforced changes was a big part of the reason we could never keep a clean sheet. We always had that question, right, under Amorim. Of course, we had a lot of injury problems. We've had that problem at the club for a few years now, lots of injuries. But Amorim kept doing this weird thing where, like, he would just change the centre-back for the sake of it on the 70th minute. I get it if you're protecting a lead. Taking Lisandro Martinez off for someone who's 12 foot tall in the last couple of minutes, if you're 1 goal up, does make sense. But Amorim would do it in, like, the weirdest games. It would be a rare game where we were, say, 2-0 up, and he'd still be changing his centre-backs. I don't know, just certain ones which felt a little bit weird. It felt like we could never build a dynamic and understanding across the back. The only time we really had it was the start of this season with Dalot, Yoro and Shaw. But even that sort of ended up not quite working, and then we made changes, and then there was injuries and all sorts went on. So yeah, it's nice to see a consistency. Unfortunately, right, the bubble is going to burst at some point. I I would love us to win the title this season, right? I'd love us to win every game from now till the end of the season. But we have to acknowledge it's somewhat unlikely. It's unlikely we see an unchanged team until the end of the season. At some point, there's going to be a game which doesn't quite work. There's going to be a game which doesn't quite click, where a certain side of the back four gets exposed, for example, for the lack of pace or the lack of agility or channel defending or something like that. Or the forwards being such a shoot first mentality at times or at some point is going to hurt us. There'll be a game where the midfield looks a little bit slow. At some point, it might go wrong, right? But hopefully not yet, I think is what I'm trying to say. You just got to ride the positivity for as long as we can. And then when we need to tinker, you got to just trust Michael Carrick. Because so far, I think he's passed every test that he's faced. So, yeah, I think what I'm trying to say is, I always say, in football, it's never as good as you think it is. It's never as bad as you think it is. I think we've seen that this season more than any other. You know, I think we were all led to believe that this United squad was terrible, but it was never as bad as what we were made to believe. But it also probably isn't quite as good as what it looks right now as well. There will be a sort of balancing off at some point, and then we'll know our true level. But I do think our true level is top 5. I think that's our true level. I think that's where we should be, particularly with the lack of games that we've got as well. So, United wins every game? I hope so. I hope so. I'll tell you, if we win 3 more in a row, then we just have to assume we're winning the treble next season. Maybe the quad. Probably the quad next season. So, what I would love is just at least 2 more wins in a row so we can see that form thing saying 6 W's. Like, that would be very nice. That would be very nice. Did you see Carl Anker giving you a shout out on Stretford Paddock? Big up to your analysis. Yes, when was it? It was after the City game, weren't it? Very surreal moment, because that is a channel that I have been subscribed to for many, many years. And of course, Carl Anker is a legend in the game. So yes, that was a very surreal moment, but also very, very cool. The Discord server was kind of going nuts about it, which is quite fun. Quite fun. 1 game per week should come in clutch. It's our 28th game of the season. Yeah, it's just insane. It's just insane. Compare it to Chelsea since the Club World Cup. They've already played over 40. It's big difference, because we've got a strong squad as well. I want Sesko to work out as a striker, but I don't see how he starts at the moment when we keep winning games and only have 1 per week. Yeah, he's sort of got a Lenny Yoro and a Heaven problem, hasn't he? Where it's difficult to get into a winning team. It's difficult to do that. You've got to seriously produce something. What you've got to do is make that impact from the bench when you get your chance. Against Fulham, of course, he did that. Against Spurs, I don't think it was a bad cameo, but obviously that big miss is a frustrating one. You think all of our forwards would score that goal, to be honest. So he'll be kicking himself. He'll know that was a real missed opportunity. But I think everything we've seen from Carrick and the coaches so far is that the man management seems pretty good. They're quick to put an arm around a shoulder, and you saw Bruno immediately talking to him. I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine, but he'll know he missed an opportunity there to make an impact. So he'll be disappointed. He'll be disappointed. Based on the way that the poll is going, I think he's going to struggle to get into the team tonight, because we've got 73% of people voting Cunha onto the left wing. So let's do that. Cunha on the left, which means the striker conversation is Mbumo, Zirkzee and Sesko. And I think we all have a logic, really, where we think if you want to score goals, which is normally quite a good idea in football, you should probably play your top goal scorer. So do we end up, once again, with an unchanged 11? Yes. Still only 12 players have started under Michael Carrick. But again, we've won 4 in a row. Why change it massively? In midfield, it's going well, and we don't really have the options to change. Defence, we could change a centre-back, but do you want to? Yeah. Why is the gap for the next game and the previous game so close? Because this weekend coming up, when we would normally play, is an FA Cup weekend. Obviously, as United fans, it's easy to forget the FA Cup exists. But yeah, it's FA Cup weekend, so there's no Premier League games this weekend. And then I'm not sure what's next midweek. What fixtures are happening in like 7 days' time? Is that European football back, or is that Carabao Cup or something? I'm not sure. But yeah, basically it's an FA Cup weekend this weekend, so there is no United. So we are going to have like a 10-day, 12-day spell, which is a little bit sad, a little bit disappointing. Which is also why I think we need to win this one. It's why we need to win this one, because we've had a lot of positivity recently it would be a real sucker punch to lose this game and then have 10 days without playing and have that loss sitting over us. Go and win this game. Go and win this game. Put 2 or 3 past them if we can. Let's be smart as well. Let's be clever about the way we approach the game. We can't go all guns blazing from the first minute because West Ham can throw a punch and they've got a good team. And I think Carrick said it, right? If they score a goal, the crowd gets up behind them. I think every team in England is difficult to play against at that point. So United have got to be clever. This might be a case of feeling your way into the game rather than starting at 100 miles an hour. Who knows? We'll see. But I think there's enough experience in this team that should know that and that should be able to do that. And then I think there's enough quality on the pitch. I think tactically we look well set up at the moment. I think we've got too much quality for West Ham. And again, we can go to the subs and you've got players that can make an impact. I think Sesko can make a huge impact from the bench if you need a goal. I think Zirkzee is a player that can help sort of tie it together and knit it together so he can make an impact. Beyond that, we're lacking a little bit at the moment, to tell the truth. I don't know if Lacey is back from that calf problem. But if so, he might be there. No Mount at the moment. So actually beyond that in midfield, we're looking at sort of like Fletcher, Ugarte, and then we're looking at centre-backs and goalkeepers. So there's not quite as much depth as we would like. But we know this is where the United squad is at. We're not stacked with a lot of wingers. So that's just sort of a problem that we've got to deal with at the moment. But the 11 alone should be enough. Plus there's players that can make an impact. And I think it's great that you can do so many different things with one sub. If we just move these guys out. For example, you could do Sesko for Mbeumo and put him straight up front. Or you could do Sesko for Cunha and then move Mbeumo to a left wing. We saw the other day that Bruno could go to a left wing as well. I think it's great that one change, one sub, can allow us to do so many different things. So I think that's a good thing that we've got at the moment. Wasn't Mbeumo limping? He was, but I believe he's meant to be fine. He sort of recovered and trained the next day. Fine is what I've read. True, yes, possibly Fletcher's on the bench. I think we as United fans should be more confident. We are a top 3 team. We should not be scared of losing to West Ham. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I think we're a little bit scarred, right? We're a little bit traumatized as United fans. We've seen plenty of sort of false beginnings, false dawns, and then we lose to just people that we shouldn't be losing to. Grimsby. So I think that's what it is. We're just a little bit cautious as fans, aren't we? But as I said at the start of the stream, realistically, the goal is top 5. And if you want to get in the top 5, you've got to beat West Ham. Because most teams have beat West Ham this season. They've lost 14 times. So you gotta fancy United in this game. And I do. And I'm assuming you guys do as well. You can let me know, though, by getting your predictions in the chat. I want predictions in terms of scoreline, goal scorers, and also theme or feel or vibe of the game. Is this a toe-to-toe game? Will West Ham be pressing really high? Is this a game where United have to be clever and weather the storm for certain patches? Or is this United dominance, blowing West Ham away with quick football? Or is it a slow, methodical trying to break down a block? What are you expecting from tonight on several different fronts? I'd love to hear your thoughts. And again, if we can win, we have some interesting games around us. Who knows? Brighton against Villa. Now, Brighton are not in the most amazing form themselves, so let's make that very clear. But Villa have just slipped a little bit recently. Is there a chance we get Villa? Is there a chance we get Villa? Brighton win, United win, we're third. Just saying, just saying. Also, can we please take a moment to acknowledge the fact that we've got a league table up. We're in the top half of that league table for a start, which is quite fun. But our goal difference, right, has 2 numbers. And there's not a minus symbol in front of it. That's pretty cool. I didn't know numbers could do that when it comes to goal difference. It's quite fun. I mean, our goals against is still a big problem. Obviously, we've sort of steadied that ship a little bit under Carrick, but still not as much as we need to, in my opinion. Look at the goals conceded. You look at the goals scored, right? We've scored 46. Arsenal scored 49. So we've only scored 3 less, but we've conceded more than double. That's insane. Absolutely insane. If we can find a way to shore up that defence, we can finish top 2 this season. We actually can, which is crazy to say. Yeah, Villa have got a lot of injury problems. Tielemans, Kamara, John McGinn is out at the moment as well. There's a few of them. I can see us sitting for a few minutes to start and scoring before half time. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, like say, if it's a sort of like, just feel the game early on, get a vibe of what's going on, just play it smart, and then sort of warm up into it. Once the crowd sort of settles, as it naturally does after 20 minutes, then go after it a bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that. And I think we need to keep that in mind when we assess the performance level as well. I think particularly at United, more than everywhere else, we demand perfection. Like I watch United and I'm like, oh, I wish we were doing that. I wish we were doing that. I wish we were doing that. And then I go watch City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and they're not doing it either. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, maybe it's just difficult for football teams to do. So I think that's something to keep in mind. Anyway, let's take a look at some predictions. 1-0 goal from Diogo Dalot. That cannot be Tams. Tams, that must be an imposter. Valza says 3-1. Cunha, brace and a Bruno goal. Bruno assist and Bumo assist. Yes, please. 3-0 clean sheet for Lomans and clean shave for Frank. Man United in the top 4 just looks right. Yeah, it just needs to bump up a couple of positions. 3 positions up would be nice. But the Premier League needs us up here. I'll put it like that. 5-1 Cunha brace. I mean, I would go absolutely mental if we win this game 5-1. That would be lovely. 3-1 United. Bruno with 2 and Sesko with 1. I like it. 2-0. Another 2-0. Bruno and Mbumo. The great thing is we've got so many forwards that I feel can pop up with a goal at the moment. There's like 5, maybe even 6 players, plus then obviously the defenders on set pieces and stuff. But there's several players at the moment that I'm confident could pop up with a goal. It's not that long ago. We would sit here at the end of the stream, we'd look through the United team and go, where's the goal coming from? Cunha's not in form right now. Ahmad's not scoring loads. And whilst that may not have changed drastically, just the whole vibe has, right? Like, Mbumo feels like he can score tonight. Of course he does. So does Cunha. He's a massive goal threat. Bruno. Ahmad is close to scoring every week. Sesko from the bench. Casemiro, set pieces. Maguire, set pieces. Kobe feels like he's about to pop up with one at some point. It's a really nice thing to have, this feeling that goals are there. I think it's very, very important. 4-1 says David. Goals from Ahmad, Sesko, and Mbumo and Kobe. Bruno 4 assists. I mean, my FPL would be quite happy with that one. 3-0, my first clean sheet prediction this season. Steve, that is insane. That explains so much. That explains so much. Mbumo double and a Bruno free kick. I'm always here for a free kick. Chad, hello, my man. How are you? 6-1. I thought it was going to be Spurs, mate. I thought we were finally going to get it. I also think to an extent we've got used to looking how we can improve instead of what we're doing well. Yeah, it's like we almost try and almost manage our own expectations a little bit. It's like we won, okay, but there must be something going wrong somewhere. There must be something going wrong. Whereas actually just at the moment we are playing well. Of course there are things we're getting wrong, but yeah, let's look at what we're doing well. Unfortunately, I won't be able to watch the match tonight, but I expect to come back and hear 6-1 chants from everyone. First thing tomorrow morning in my video. Yes, just a heads up. Recently, the match videos have been very prompt after full time. It'll be a little bit different with this one just because of the time. Yeah, I'm not uploading at 1 AM. We'll put it like that. So the video will come out 9, half 9, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning is when we will be breaking down the game. Because, yeah, I just don't want to upload at 1 AM because I don't fancy it, to be honest. So, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it'll change. Maybe we'll do an all-nighter, but we'll see. We'll see. Need a double assist for Bruno. Bruno needs that assist record. That's the other reason I'm annoyed at Sesko the other day. We need that Bruno assist record. We need it. Alex, good morning. How are you feeling about the game, mate? How are you feeling? Confident? Or a little bit worried? Banana peel. Banana skin. What's the saying? One of the two. Last time we deserved a win but got a draw, so this time I think we won't deserve a win but we'll get it anyway. I mean, that's a sign of champions, right? Okay, we should probably relax on that talk. I'm going tonight, so hope for loads of goals and a good win. 4-2 United. Enjoy it, mate. Enjoy it. And hopefully, yes, hopefully we give you a win. Another unchanged team on the cards. Yeah, that is what we ended up with. Unchanged. There were a few more conversations than recently, but yeah, unchanged eventually. Can we get some more likes in, guys? Keep the positive vibes going. I mean, yes, please. If you are enjoying the stream, especially if you're first time around here, make sure to drop a like if you do enjoy it. And also subscribe if you want to see more. Get your notifications on so you always know when I go live or when I upload. Seems like a smart idea to me, please and thank you. Feeling confident, start well, and West Ham will implode. I'm predicting a 2-1 win with Mbeumo man of the match. Oh, I like to see a man of the match prediction. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Yeah, I mean, a bit like Spurs, right? We just owe them one. We just owe them. A little 3-0 there. Match day 23 in the 23-24 season. That's February, to be fair. 3-0 win for United. That sort of thing tonight would be lovely. Only changes the kit. Do you guys like this kit? I haven't actually got a picture of it. Do you like this kit or not? I'm a little bit unsure on it still. Does Dorgu come straight back in when fit? I think that will be a sort of game-to-game thing where it will depend. Are we, hoping to attack more, defend a bit more? Where's the opposition's threat? I think that will change quite a lot. Oh, yes. Also, don't forget to join the Discord server. It is linked at the top of the chat. There is also a link in the description of this stream. Whether you are watching live or you're watching it as a VOD afterwards, make sure to join the Discord. Over 900 United fans. Just enjoying life really at the moment. Very positive vibes, good energy. Talking about good things at United. It's great to have. It's a lovely place to be. Nuno's always a bit of a pain in the boop. Hope we manage a win. Yeah, he'll have them set up difficult to play, I think. Difficult to play. I don't think this will be an easy game. But I do think it's one of those, if we can get the goal in the first 30 minutes and sort of manage contain, then you score just a second, let's say, around the hour mark. I do think it's one of those ones which can become 3 or 4-0. Just because West Ham, yes, they've had a better run of form, but they're in a relegation zone. And the second you're 2-0 down at home, your heads do drop a little bit. Especially if United are sort of passing them out of the game, keeping the ball, controlling it, snuffing out attacks. It's one of those that manage it properly for the first hour, look after the ball, find the goals. Easier said than done. But I do think that last 30 minutes it can open up. Game state can sort of be in our favour. And it's one of those where we might have that 3-0. We might have that 4-0, maybe. It's also one, though, where if we struggle to score, if we struggle to control the game, and West Ham are compact and offering that threat on the break, 0-0 on the 70th minute, it turns into a very nervy game and a very tricky one for United. So, I mean, as always, game state is big. The earlier United score, the better. Preferably 2 or 3. Manchester United, that is. Yeah, I think that's going to play a big part in this game as well. Do you think we win? Oh, yeah, I haven't given my prediction. I do think we win. I'm torn between 3-0 and 3-1. I don't know which way to go with it. I want to go 3-0 just because back-to-back clean sheets would feel just glorious. And almost impossible not long ago. But I'm not going to. I'm going to go 3-1. 3-1 Manchester United. Goal scorers being... I think it might be an Ahmad day. For a goal. So I'm going to go Ahmad. I might go Ahmad and I want to say an Mbeumo brace. Can we just quickly mention something? Now, I don't normally pick out individuals for the other team. Diouf, good player, right? Couple of players, little audition. This guy. If you want to know a bit more about this guy, check out my video on the second channel, AJ Talks Tactics. You will find it on the community page of this channel. Go check it out. Yeah, great player. There's been a couple of questions about summer midfielders. We will be talking about that more very soon. Maybe this Friday's stream, just for something different. There's about 100 midfielders United could go and sign this summer, all of which are very good, all of which would solve a lot of problems. He is one of them. Great player. As is Diouf. Good footballer. This guy. Going to be a threat off set pieces. Big fella. Strong guy. Big in the box. Big threat. But let's be a little bit critical for a moment. If you can beat Diouf in the 1-versus-1, or let's say Diouf has gone flying forward to try and cross into the box and United win in and counter. If you could get Ahmad in an isolation there, let's see if he starts. He may not. But if you could isolate like that, I mean, Ahmad's got to be looking at that and thinking, I can get at him here. So that's just something to keep an eye out for. That's a 1-versus-1 where if we can isolate it, Yeah, Ahmad could cause a serious problem or two. So just keep an eye out for that, especially if he's swapping with Mbumo at any point in the game. Keep an eye out for that. But yeah, the point is West Ham have got good players. Jeff Fernandez. I think Souček's always a nuisance to play against, and Bowen and some of it were good players. Wan-Bissaka as well. I said I don't know so much about the forwards. I have to tell the truth, but there's some good players in that West Ham team. But I do just think if we can isolate that little battle, just remember I said that, all right? Just keep an eye out for that during the game. Anyway, I think that is everything that I wanted to cover for today. I do need to leave so I can go record or record and edit a video for this afternoon before United play tonight, because I don't want to upload at like 7 p.m. and then we kick off at 8:15 and it sort of feels pointless. So I am going to be dipping for now. So I want to thank you guys all for joining. I want to thank you very much for watching, for supporting the stream and the channel as always, and also thank you for the great conversations. Thank you for the super chats, for the gifted memberships, for the renewal of memberships. You guys are all absolute legends. I really do appreciate you all. Let's just keep enjoying the positive vibes. Hopefully it's going to continue. A fifth win in a row tonight would feel huge. Make sure to check that link from David in the chat, by the way. Check it. You want to check it. Yeah, a fifth win in a row would feel absolutely huge for the club. Going into that sort of 10-day break on a positive would be great. 15 points from 15, especially if you can find a way to keep a clean sheet or produce a dominant performance, either of the two. We're going to feel in a great place, and teams around us have a decent chance of dropping points this week, so we could look even better in the table. So go get the win tonight. It doesn't have to be the most perfect performance. I want to see promising signs like we've seen in each of the last 4. Let's be efficient, let's be effective, let's get the job done, and hopefully win the football match. Please and thank you. If you wouldn't mind, Manchester United, that'd be quite nice. But yes, we are going to stop the stream there. So thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed it. We will be back later in the week with another stream. We just have to figure out what topic that is going to be. I don't know just yet. And in terms of videos, should be one this afternoon. Tomorrow morning, we will break down this game. Not tonight, tomorrow morning. And then we'll see sort of where United and life takes us for the rest of the week. So, yes, I will catch you all very soon with plenty of content on the way.